3,000 performers from Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Lesotho and South Africa will take part at this year's 7th Education Africa International Marimba and Steelpan Festival. The highlights of the two-day event will include a mass drumming and the mass marimba and steelpan performance, workshops, and will also serve as a vehicle of social cohesion and intersocial relationships. To tell us more, we are now joined in studio by Joan Lithgow, Director of the International Marimba and Steelpan Festival. Joan, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here again.
I think before we get into the festival itself, a little bit earlier on, we saw the Pinky Band from Carter Primary, which is in Alexandra, north of Johannesburg, performing for us. Where did you find such talented young girls?
Well, they're just an amazing bunch of girls. We took them overseas last year on a tour to the UK, and it's one of our marimba hubs that Education Africa opens. So we've got 11 different marimba hubs around Gauteng, and they're one of them.
Now, let's look at the festival. We know that it's regarded as the largest of its kind. In terms of some of the highlights that you've had over the years, take us through those.
So we've had wonderful experiences with bands from all over the world, mostly Africa, and this year we've got Southern Africa represented with 3 different adjudicators coming, 3 international adjudicators and 3 local adjudicators. The highlight is always the spirit that we find at the festival. That is unbridled, really. You cannot believe the wonderful spirit of Ubuntu, an incredible spirit of love that we find amongst all the bands. It may be a competition and it's fiercely competitive, but every performance is cheered on by everybody else as if it was their own band. So it's really special.
I mean, there's about 2,000 performers at this competition. What are some of the benefits for the bands that are taking part in terms of experience, but also just, learning from different nations when it comes to this style of music?
Right, so the great thing is with 2,000 performers and over 250 performances over 2 days, bands are sitting there and listening to each other and saying, wow, that's a beautiful arrangement. The teachers are saying to each other, wonder who arranged that music, let's find that teacher. So they're making connections with each other all the time, which is fabulous, and building bridges across the divide, and so that's for me one of the highlights also is how people are mixing and making new friends and learning music from each other.
Joan, a big challenge continues to be funding for bands in our country, especially when it comes, to the big competitions where they have to travel overseas. There's a lot of costs involved. How's that coming along for this specifically?
Okay, so we've had very little funding. BASA have come aboard and helped us with a couple of, with some money, and SAMRO has been a wonderful supporter of our festival for many years, the South African Music Rights Organisation. But basically, we need funding for this for our festival to survive. And truthfully, we're not sure why we're not getting the funding from the Department of Arts and Culture, why we're not getting funding from the National Arts Council. I'm not understanding this, because truthfully, this is a wonderful, wonderful vehicle for social cohesion. It's a wonderful vehicle for performance opportunities for all our bands from all around, and we need that is for sure.
Now, we continue to celebrate the centenary of Nelson Mandela. How are you planning to incorporate these centenary celebrations with the festival this year?
Well, Madiba was a great one for music. And so at our massed event, where we have about 1,000 performers singing as well as performing on marimbas and steel pans and djembe drums, I've written a piece of music celebrating various quotes that he has made about music, and that's going to be in a composition on Saturday afternoon between 1:15 and 2:15, where the students and everybody who's at the festival will be learning something from scratch. So in 40 minutes they will learn a brand new piece of music and perform it at the festival.
That sounds daunting but exciting as well. Joan, thank you so much for joining us on Morning Love, and all the best with the festival.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, the 7th 7th International Marimba and Steelpan Festival, which will be paying homage to Nelson Mandela in Boksburg on July the 28th and the 29th at the St. Dominic's Catholic School for Girls. We've just spoken to Joan Lithgow, who was taking us through some of the work that they're doing with the festival.